Have you heard the social media audio that says something about this plan? The part that I love is that no one can stop me. I'm sure you've heard this audio multiple times in different variations. And the funny thing about plans is that it's true. No one can stop us when we decide to focus on a plan. But sometimes the hard part can just be deciding the plan, can be deciding what plan to focus on. The hard part can be bringing the plan into fruition, to outlining the steps to achieving a goal, a plan, a dream, or idea. So if you are a daycare provider and you want 2026 to be your first six-figure year, or you've already made six figures in 2025 and you want 2026 to be the year you continue to make six figures, here are 3 steps to your six-figure daycare year. The first step is to start where you are. As a daycare provider, there is really no wrong position. This is one of the only careers where you can never be behind. Whether you're a small home daycare provider or a large home daycare provider or a small daycare center owner where your center has 30 children or less, you can make six figures. And the best thing about this plan is starting where you are. A lot of times when providers want to turn their daycare into a six-figure business, whether they want to make sure their daycare continues to make six figures or they want to make their first six figures, the first thing they do is they start thinking about the six figures. They start thinking about how much money they want to make, how long it'll take for them to make the money, and can they reasonably make six figures. But if you start your plan with step 1, if you start where you are, it makes planning your six-figure daycare year so much easier. So to start where you are right now and assess where your daycare is right now, think to yourself how much your daycare makes on average per year, per month, and per week. Now that you have those numbers, let's move on to the second step of your six-figure daycare year. Your six-figure daycare plan, the second step, is to choose your six-figure daycare number. You're going to envision how much you want to make in your daycare business, and I like to call that number the comfortable six-figure daycare number. What number would you be comfortable making year in and year out? What number is a goal for you? What number do you want to make? And what number do you need to make in order for your family to maintain the life that you want? What number is it for you? Six figures is a broad range. It starts at 100,000 and ends somewhere around 999,000. So for you, what would you be comfortable with? What would your monthly income, your monthly breakdown, what would it be for you? What would be your comfort number? I remember after I went through my divorce, I had to think, what is my six-figure daycare comfort number? After the divorce, it changed. I knew I live in California, I have 3 children, $250,000. That was my minimum. That was my don't go below that number. That was what I needed to maintain my level of comfort, to plan for the future for my children, and just be able to take care of them with California's expensive economy. Once I decided what my comfortable six-figure daycare number was, it made it so much easier to really get my six-figure daycare goal. Because what I did is I took where I was, how much I was currently making, and all I did is subtract that from the amount I needed and wanted to make. Then I had a goal. I said, okay, I need to go from here to there, and here's how I'm going to do it. And the same is true for you. You have a six-figure comfort level. For some people, that comfort number may be 100,000. It might be 120,000. It might be 550,000, 632,000. Whatever your comfort level is, it's just important that you get an idea. You start to put a number to your comfort. You start to label it so you can set your goal. So now that we've gone over the first 2 steps to your six-figure daycare year, starting where you are, putting your daycare numbers on paper, thinking about how much your daycare makes per year, per month, and per week, and you've thought about your six-figure daycare comfort number, the number you want to make to live comfortably and to be able to maintain the lifestyle you desire. The third step, the last step to your six-figure daycare year, is simply to choose your six-figure daycare plan. Now, while that may sound like it's a lot of steps, it may sound like it's a lot of work, it's really, really simple. There are only 3 legal, simple ways to make 6 figures in daycare consistently every year. And all you need to do is just pick one based on your desired daycare size, based on your license capacity, and based on your daycare dreams and goals. You may be a small home daycare provider who has no interest, absolutely none, in expanding your daycare into a large home daycare or a daycare center. Or you might be a daycare center owner who couldn't dream of having an in-home daycare business. Either way, all you have to do is choose one 6-figure daycare plan now that you already know where your daycare is starting from. You know the starting point, how much your daycare makes per year. You know your 6-figure comfort number, what you want your 6-figure daycare to make each year, your actual number, whether it's 120,000, 140,000, 650,000, 250,000, 232,000. You have your number. Now you're going to choose your plan. The first 6-figure daycare plan is the small home daycare plan, where a small home daycare provider is licensed for 6 to 8 children and sells one product or one service online. While that may sound complicated and it may sound like something you may not even want to get into, here is what I know for sure. Anyone can sell anything online, and selling online doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. When you use a simple formula and strategy, all you need to do is choose your audience, who you want to sell to, whether it's daycare providers or whether it's moms with children under 5. From there, you decide what product or service you want to sell. It can be a product that you create, or you can create an Amazon storefront and link all of the products that you like for a particular topic, such as potty training. Then all you need to do is post content. And I know it sounds like it might be a lot, but it's very simple once you get started. That is the small home daycare 6-figure option, because it's impossible unless you live in a state where daycare rates are above the national average. So New York, Hawaii, California, it's impossible to make 6 figures with a small home daycare alone. You can use an online selling option to make your 6 figures and hit your 6-figure daycare goal. The second 6-figure daycare plan is a large home daycare. In most states, providers are licensed anywhere from 10 to 14 children and can make 6 figures without selling any product or service online. If they want to increase the amount of money that their daycare is making, so let's just say that their daycare is making $120,000, but they want to make $175,000. Providers have an option where they can sell a product or service online, just like small home daycare providers. The only difference is with large home daycare providers, it's not a mandatory requirement based on number size, license capacity, and average daycare rates. Now, if you happen to be a large home daycare provider in a state where the daycare rates, the tuition weekly rates, are below the national average, you will need to sell one product or service online to hit your 6-figure daycare goals. But the beautiful thing about the process is that it can be simple, easy, and routine. Selling one product or one service online can create a whole new revenue stream for your daycare without costing you lots of time or lots of money to get started. The third 6-figure daycare plan is a small daycare center plan, where a provider is licensed from anywhere from 14 to 30 children. Now, with this plan, providers who own a small daycare center don't have to sell online. They can choose to if they want to add to their revenue, but in most states, you can make 6 figures easily with a small daycare center. So those are the 3 steps to your 6-figure daycare year. Just starting where you are, thinking about how much your daycare is currently making, envisioning your 6-figure daycare comfort number. What number is comfortable for you? What number do you want to set as a goal for your daycare to make? What's your 6-figure daycare comfort number? Once you have that figured out, all you're going to do is choose your 6-figure daycare plan. Either the small home daycare option, the large home daycare option, or the small daycare center. If you do all of those 3 things, you are on your way to your 6-figure daycare year. Now, when you're thinking about your six-figure daycare plan and what plan would work best for you, think about your daycare business goals. Think about your daycare business dreams. Think about what plan is the easiest to start immediately or within the next 3 months, and start working on your plan. For more information about how to turn your daycare into a six-figure business that makes six figures, not 1 year, not 2 years, not 3 years, but consistently every year, be sure to subscribe to the Daycare and Money Podcast. We're talking all things daycare and money all year long. As always, I'll see you in the next episode. Oops, you didn't think we were done yet. Nope, we're just getting started. You want 2026 to be your first six-figure daycare year, but you don't want to spend a lot of time and you don't want to spend a lot of money. I got it. I got you. If you want to plan out your six-figure daycare plan and you want to get it straight, ready to go before 2026, grab the Six-Figure Daycare Blueprint. It comes with a workbook that allows you to get all your thoughts, all your ideas, all your goals out on paper so you can plan your six-figure daycare year. You can also book a one-on-one coaching call with yours truly, moi, and we can go through your six-figure daycare plan. We can set it up and we can go step by step. The coaching calls are 60 minutes long, and you can visit Linktree, that's LINKTREE /The Daycare Life, or you can just click the link in the show notes. It's so much easier. As always, I'll see you in the next episode.